Good morning, my friends. My coffee is extra hot this morning. It's wicked hot. It's because it's chilly here this morning in Maine, or at least it seems to be inside this house with the curtains drawn. It could be 90 out, I'm not sure, but with the AC on and the curtains drawn, I'm pretty sure it's 40 degrees outside. That's what it feels like. Hey, Joyce. Hey, Mallory. Oh, that's hot. Good morning, Sarah. Is it cool in Texas? I don't know what the weather is. I think it's only going to be 78 here today, so it's not going to be super duper warm. Good morning, Susan. Hey, Kathy. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me this morning. We are on the last day of June. Y'all, the first 6 months of this year are done. How on earth? Hey, Cindy, she made it to Georgia. That's exciting. All right, June 30th, end of Ahaz's reign, 2 Kings 16, 19 through 20, 716 BC. The rest of the events in Ahaz's reign and everything he did are recorded in the book of the history of the kings of Judah. When Ahaz died, he was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. Then his son Hezekiah became the next king. 2 Chronicles 28, 26 through 27. The rest of the events of Ahaz's reign and everything he did from beginning to end are recorded in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. When Ahaz died, he was buried in Jerusalem, but not in the royal cemetery of the kings of Judah. Then his son Hezekiah became the next king. Do you know why I just stuttered right there? It's because my husband keeps telling me that I pronounce buried wrong, that it's not buried. They were buried. He was buried in Jerusalem. I am not saying buried. How do you pronounce it? It's buried, like B-E-A-R, buried. A message about Babylon, Isaiah 13, 1 through 22. Isaiah, son of Amoz, received this message concerning the destruction of Babylon. Raise a signal flag on a bare hilltop. Call up an army against Babylon. Wave your hand to encourage them as they march into the palace of the high and mighty. I, the Lord, have dedicated these soldiers for this task. Yes, I have called mighty warriors to express my anger, and they will rejoice when I am exalted. Hear the noise on the mountains. Listen as the vast armies march. It is the noise of shouting of many nations. The Lord of heaven's armies has called this army together. They come from distant countries, from beyond the farthest horizons. They are the Lord's weapons to carry out his anger. With them he will destroy the whole land. Scream in terror, for the day of the Lord has arrived, the time of the Almighty to destroy. Every arm is paralyzed with fear. Every heart melts, and people are terrified. Pangs of anguish grip them, like those of a woman in labor. They look helplessly at one another, their faces aflame with fear. For see, the day of the Lord is coming, the terrible day of his fury and fierce anger. The land will be made desolate, and all the sinners destroyed with it. The heavens will be black above them. The stars will give no light. The sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will provide no light. I, the Lord, will punish the world for its evil, and the wicked for their sin. I will crush the arrogance of the proud, and humble the pride of the mighty. I will make people scarcer than gold, more rare than the fine gold of Ophir. For I will shake the heavens. The earth will move from its place, when the Lord of heaven's armies displays his wrath, in the day of his fierce anger. Everyone in Babylon will run about like a hunted gazelle, like sheep without a shepherd. They will try to find their own people and flee to their own land. Anyone who is captured will be cut down, run through with a sword. Their little children will be dashed to death before their eyes. Their homes will be sacked and their wives will be raped. Look, I will stir up the Medes against Babylon. They cannot be tempted by silver or bribed with gold. The attacking armies will shoot down the young men with arrows. They will have no mercy on helpless babies and will show no compassion for children. Babylon, the most glorious of kingdoms, the flower of the Chaldean pride, will be devastated like Sodom and Gomorrah. When God destroyed them, Babylon will never be inhabited again. It will remain empty for generation after generation. Nomads will refuse to camp there, and shepherds will not bed down their sheep. Desert animals will move into the ruined city, and the houses will be haunted by howling creatures. Owls will live among the ruins, and wild goats will go there to dance. Hyenas will howl in its fortresses, and jackals will make dens in its luxurious palaces. Babylon's days are numbered. Its time of destruction will soon arrive. A taunt for Babylon's king, Isaiah 14:1 through 23. But the Lord will have mercy on the descendants of Jacob. He will choose Israel as his special people once again. He will bring them back to settle once again in their own land, and people from many different nations will come and join them there and unite them with the people of Israel. The nations of the world will help the people of Israel to return. To those who come to live in the Lord's land will serve them. Those who captured Israel will themselves be captured, and Israel will rule over its enemies. In that wonderful day when the Lord gives his people rest from sorrow and fear, from slavery and chains, you will taunt the king of Babylon. You will say, "The mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence is ended, for the Lord has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule. You struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny. But finally, the earth is at rest and quiet. Now it can sing again. Even the trees of the forest, the cypress trees and the cedars of Lebanon, sing out in this joyous song. Since you have been cut down, no one will come now to cut us down. In the place of the dead, there is excitement over your arrival. The spirits of world leaders and mighty kings long dead stand up to see you. With one voice they all cry out, "Now you are as weak as we are. Your might and power were buried with you. The sound of the harp in your palace has ceased. Now maggots are your sheet and worms are your blanket. How you are fallen from heaven, O shining star, son of the morning. You have been thrown down to earth, you destroyed the nations of the world. For you said to yourself, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above God's stars. I will preside on the mountain of the gods, far away in the north. I will climb to the highest heavens and be like the Most High. Instead, you will be brought down to the place of the dead, down to its lowest depths. Everyone there will stare at you and ask, can this be the one who shook the earth and made the kingdoms of the world tremble? Is this the one who destroyed the world and made it into a wasteland? Is this the king who demolished the world's greatest cities and had no mercy on its prisoners? Kings of the nations lie in stately glory, each in his own tomb, but you will be thrown out of your grave like a worthless branch, like a corpse trampled underfoot. You will be dumped into a mass grave with those killed in battle. You will descend to the pit. You will not be given a proper burial, for you have destroyed your nation and slaughtered your people. The descendants of such an evil person will never again receive honor. Kill this man's children. Let them die because of their father's sins. They must not rise and conquer the earth, filling the world with their cities. This is what the Lord of Heaven's armies says. I myself have risen again against Babylon. I will destroy its children and its children's children, says the Lord. I will make Babylon a desolate place of owls, filled with swamps and marshes. I will sweep the land with the broom of destruction. I, the Lord of Heaven's armies, have spoken. A message about Assyria, Isaiah 14:24 through 27. The Lord of Heaven's armies has sworn this oath. It will all happen as I have planned. It will be as I have decided. I will break the Assyrians when they are in Israel. I will trample them on my mountains. My people will no longer be their slaves, nor bow down under their heavy loads. I have a plan for the whole earth, a hand of judgment upon all the nations. The Lord of Heaven's armies has spoken. Who can change his plans? When his hand is raised, who can stop him? A message about Philistia, Isaiah 14:28 through 32. This message came to me the year King Ahaz died. Do not rejoice, you Philistines, that the rod that you struck is broken, that the king who attacked you is dead. For from that snake a more poisonous snake will be born, a fiery serpent to destroy you. I will feed the poor in my pasture, the needy will lie down in peace. But as for you, I will wipe you out with famine and destroy the few who remain. Wail at the gates, weep in the cities, melt with fear, you Philistines. A powerful army comes like smoke from the north. Each soldier rushes forward, eager to fight. What should we tell the Philistine messengers? Tell them, the Lord has built Jerusalem. Its walls will give refuge to his oppressed people. A message to Moab, Isaiah 15:1 through 16:14. This message came to me concerning Moab. In One night the town of Ar will be leveled, and the city of Kir will be destroyed. Your people will go to their temple in Dibon to mourn. They will go to their sacred shrines to weep. They will wail for the fate of Nebo and Medeba, shaving their heads in sorrow and cutting off their beards. They will wear burlap as they wander the streets. From every home and public square will come the sound of wailing. The people of Heshbon and Elilah will cry out. Their voices will be heard as far away as Jahaz. The bravest warriors of Moab will cry out in utter terror. They will be helpless with fear. My heart weeps for Moab. Its people flee to Zor and Eglath-Shelishiah. Weeping, they climb the road to Luhith. Their cries of distress can be heard all along the road to Horonaim. Even the waters of Nimrim are dried up. The grassy banks are scorched. The tender plants are gone. Nothing green remains. The people grab their possessions and carry them across the ravine of willows. A cry of distress echoes through the land of Moab. From one end to the other, from Eglam to Beer Elam, the stream near Dibon runs red with blood. But I am still not finished with Dibon. Lions will hunt down the survivors, both those who try to escape and those who remain behind. Send lambs from Selah as tribute to the ruler of the land. Send them through the desert to the mountains of beautiful Zion. The women of Moab are left like homeless birds at the shallow crossings of the Arnon River. Help us, they cry. Defend us against our enemies. Protect us from their relentless attack. Do not betray us now that we have escaped. Let our refuge stay among you. Hide them from our enemies until the terror is past. When the oppression and destruction have ended and enemy raiders have disappeared, then God will establish one of David's descendants as king. He will rule with mercy and truth. He will always do what is just and be eager to do what is right. We have heard about proud Moab with its pride and arrogance and rage, but all that boasting has disappeared. The entire land of Moab weeps. Yes, everyone in Moab mourns for the cakes of raisins from Kir-Hareseth. They are all gone now. The farms of Heshbon are abandoned. The vineyards of Sibmah are deserted. The rulers of the nations have broken down Moab, that beautiful grapevine. Its tendrils spread north as far as the town of Jazer and trailed eastward into the wilderness. Its shoots reach so far west that they cross the Dead Sea. So now I weep for Jazer and the vineyards of Sibmah. My tears will flow for Heshbon and Elilah. There are no more shouts of joy over your summer fruits and harvest. Gone now is its gladness. Gone now is the joy of harvest. There will be no more singing in the vineyards, no more happy shouts, no more treading of grapes in the winepress. I have ended all their harvest joys. My heart's cry for Moab is like a lament on the harp. I am filled with anguish for Kir-Hareseth. The people of Moab will worship at their pagan shrines, but it will do them no good. They will cry to the gods in their temples, but no one will be able to save them. The Lord has already said these things about Moab in the past, but now the Lord says, within 3 years, counting each day, the glory of Moab will be ended. From its great population, only a feeble few will be left alive. Okay. Let's do I'm That Girl. Excuse me, I got the yawns. You do say buried, Cindy? Good, so I'm right. It's not buried. Good. Thank you for that backup. All right, let's do I'm That Girl. We are on day 58. We are on a new chapter today, chapter 18. Still a section called Promise You Some Science, but the chapter is titled, What the Rice? Page 189. All right. More about the science of words here in this chapter. Now, on to the biggie, an experiment that has mystified the scientific world for decades. Dr. Emoto's most well-known experiment, we talked about him and his sound and water experiments, in the last chapter, his well-known experiment is one where he took 3 sterilized beakers, put the same amount of rice and water in each one, and left them for 30 days. Each day he spoke to the 2 jars with strong emotions backing his words. To one he spoke love, and to the other he spoke hate. He would say thank you or other words of appreciation to the first, and things like you're an idiot to the other. The third beaker of rice and water he simply ignored. The beaker that was the recipient of loving words and emotions never rotted. It stayed clean and white for the full 30 days. The rice water inflicted with hateful words and emotions grew huge black splotches of ugly mold, and the beaker that was just ignored simply rotted. Many people have tried this experiment at home and have amazingly experienced the same results. Again, we urge, go Google it, and you'll see the results, result after result, online. All right, how many of you are going to be talking to your rice over the next 30 days? A few of us going to be getting out rice and yelling at it, calling it a moron. Our own children did this experiment as part of a homeschooling science experiment and astoundingly got these very same results. The rice and water they spoke love to did not rot, while the other one that had hate-filled words spoken over it did, disgustingly. We shared the results of this study on one of our weekly Trim Healthy podcasts and encourage others to do it to see if they got similar results. We heard back from so many and have seen their online pictures of jars of rice after 30 days, results just like ours. These and many other experiments published in Dr. Emoto's book, The Hidden Message in the Water, a simply astounding video, The Secret of Water, which shows his ice crystal experiment, can be viewed online as well if you need to see it to believe it. Okay, that's it for today. Sarah, there's truth behind that. I've read about people saying nice things to their plants. My orchid died probably because I said that friggin' thing is dying. It's dying. Look at it die. It's got black spotches, and all it wanted to hear was, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and it'd still be here. So, if our words have that kind of power over rice, what kind of power do our words hold to people and to ourselves? I don't know. Cindy be over there spreading lots of love to her rice. I think we'll do that experiment with Marin. I think that would be a wise experiment to do with a teenager who always talks negativity to herself. Like most teenage girls. Listen, the neighborhoods around here. Sarah's gonna whisper. Listen, I have 2 hydrangea bushes that have rooted well but are not blooming well, and they're new. But I'm going to get down on the ground and speak love to them later today. I'm going to tell them how beautiful they are and how if I could marry a plant, I would choose them. And then I'm going to go over the other one and say, if I could marry a plant, I would choose you. I'm just going to make sure the other plant doesn't hear. Right. Faith, we can read Song of Solomon to our rice. Oh my gosh. I'm going to do it. I need to look it up, make sure I do it right, but I'm going to do that. That's right, Meredith. You see me out there on the ground talking to my plants, you just drive on past. You look away. Please do, Sarah. All right. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. I'm going to go live for breakfast in just a few minutes. I'm going to make some French toast out of chocolate babka. What's chocolate babka, you ask? Well, you'll have to join my video to find out. Thank you for joining this morning. If you're watching this after the fact, we'll read Lamentations to 1, Cindy, and we'll read Lamentations to 1 thing of rice and Song of Solomon to the other. Oh my word. All right. Anyway, you'll have to join my breakfast video to see what chocolate babka is. I shouldn't be but a few minutes, and I'll go live for that. I love you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you back tomorrow for more devotions. Bye, guys.